Yu-Gi-Oh is one of the most popular trading card games in the world, one of the top 3 trading card games in the world. But unfortunately, it's also one of the more difficult games to get into these days, and it's very understandable why. When you look at a modern Yu-Gi-Oh game, you can see how complicated and difficult it may well be. Because players are doing so many different things, like they're summoning this guy, and then they're summoning this guy, and then that guy, and then that guy, all in one turn. And if you don't know how to play the game, it's hard to keep track, hard to follow. And that's if you're trying to get into the game, that might be quite the challenge, especially because if you get put into that scenario, you're gonna be very terrified. You don't know exactly what cards to play, how cards even work. It's gonna be very tough for you. I mean, sure, there might be some kind of tutorials, especially on maybe on Master Duel, but it's not quite doesn't quite do the trick. And this is quite the difficult challenge that Yu-Gi-Oh has kind of faced these days, and trying to get new players into the game. However, though, I think I've got the solution to help fix this problem. So if you're new to Yu-Gi-Oh and you want to get into the game, or you're just curious about it and just want to learn a bit about it, then stick around, because I've got a way that'll help you get into the game without breaking your brain. Now, if you don't know me, my name is SynchroGuy, and I've been a Yu-Gi-Oh player for well over 13 plus years, and this is my favorite game. I love this game. I prefer this game out of every game that currently exists now, every game that has existed before, and any game that will exist in the future. This is my most favorite game of all time. And because it is my favorite game, I always want to be playing it, and well, if there's one thing about this game, you cannot play alone. I should know. That's right. Dark times. Anyway, Yu-Gi-Oh is not a game you can play alone. You need to have another player to play with you. But if both players don't know how the game quite works, it's gonna be very hard to get into, let alone enjoy the deepness that this game can go. Like, seriously, when you get past the threshold, the complicatedness that this game has can be very pleasurable. It is so much fun. But of course, you're not at that stage just yet, so I've come up with a way to help introduce you and get you started in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, so that way you don't have to face the big, complicated, terrifying stuff straight off the bat. Now, before we deep dive into this, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, click subscribe, and ding that notification bell so you can get more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh related content. Now you're probably saying, Synchro, you've been dragging this on long enough, just tell us already, what the hell are you supposed to do? Alright, so to get into this game, we're going to start you off at level 1. At level 1, you're going to be playing retro format. Now, retro format, that just means you're going to be playing an older style format that's existed in the game's history. There's a lot of different kind of formats that a lot of other players in the Yu-Gi-Oh community tend to enjoy. The most popular ones being GOAT format and Edison format, the last one especially. If you want to get into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, I highly recommend you start off by playing one of these two formats. Because in these formats, you're going to be playing the game at a much slower pace compared to how Yu-Gi-Oh is today. Like, seriously, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, we just go summon this guy, summon this guy, summon this guy, summon this guy, pass, yeah, all that. But in these other formats, most of the action most players are going to be doing in single turn is just going to be setting a monster, set a card face down, pass. That's it. Not too scary, right? And because of that, will give you a chance to give more experience of trying to play the game out just a bit longer, and giving you an idea of understanding how the game is supposed to work. So when you're playing a retro format, there are 3 goals you need to achieve. The first goal is simply just learning the rules of the game. So you need to learn how to summon monsters, how to play spell cards, how to use trap cards, all of that stuff. And in these slower formats, you'll be able to do just that. And again, because they're going so slow, and each player just go, play this guy, do this, pass, you'll have a bit of a back and forth kind of duel, and a good chance to really try to experience and try to do some things that will get you to understand the rules of the game. And the second goal you need to do in this level is acquiring information. And in this information, well, there's 2 parts to it. The first part is learning the different summoning mechanics. There's a lot of different summoning mechanics in this game, but for this level, there's only 4 you need to familiar yourselves with: Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, and Exi summons. And in these slower paced formats, that will be very easy to do and will give you a good chance to try them out so you can better understand how they work, and all from there, you just need to try to learn and master these summoning mechanics. And for the second part of information, you just need to acquire some info or understanding of what cards are being used in the game. And this is important because Yu-Gi-Oh is a game of information. Information is key in Yu-Gi-Oh. If you can have information about what it is your opponent is potentially using or playing, you have a better chance of trying to play your cards correctly. Because again, when you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't know exactly what cards to use or what's the right play to make because, well, you don't know what cards are being used. But in these slower paced formats, you'll be able to pick up on these pieces of information, and more importantly, you can make mistakes and not feel too guilty about it because, again, in slower paced formats, you'll still have a chance to get victory. But of course, learn from your mistakes, of course. And of course, by making your mistakes, you acquire the information, and so that way you'll know better for next time. Now, for the third and final goal in this level you need to learn about, it's card economy. Card economy would be the kind of thing you probably hear some players saying, like Pot of Greed is a +1, or Upside Gun is a +0, or just a neutral, or how Dark World Dealings is just a -1. Something like that. And card economy is very important in these slower formats because it can really help determine who's going to be winning these duels. So of course, if being able to, play the game is also fun, but if you're also looking to try to be able to not just play, but also be able to win against certain opponents, well, by learning about card economy and learning how to master that, you'll be able, to perform well in these formats. And real quick, even though I said Go format and Answer format are the best ones to start with, just know there are other different formats that exist out there, and it's good for you to go out and try to experiment with some of these other formats because, again, you're acquiring information, you'll be learning some new stuff, especially selling mechanics, because you need to complete that goal. After you have checked off all 3 of these goals, then you're ready for the next level, level 2. Now, Genesys format is a brand new format that recently just got introduced into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it is very popular so far, and a lot of players love it. But I think Genesys format is great, mostly because it can act as a bridge between level 1 and level 3. So Genesys format is a little bit different because in this format, every card is legal. Now, by going through level 1, you will most likely learn about the, ban lists and how different formats have following different kinds of ban lists, stuff like that. What's legal, what's not legal. But in Genesys format, every card is legal. But the catch is they have a point system. In other words, you have to keep your deck usually at 100 points max or lower. You just cannot go past that 100-point max. Think of it as kind of like the salary cap system like they have in sports. You can have some great cards, but you just can't have all of them. And that could be really cool for some people because this encourages, well, deck building. You get creative. You could try building some different decks around certain different things, and plus, you get to play a bunch of older cards that have been very powerful but just been banned for a long time. So yeah, it's a good way to encourage you to try and build some different kinds of decks. But that might not exactly be the entire goal you want to accomplish here in level 2. I mean, deck building is important, and being able to learn how to deck build can be very helpful. Don't get me wrong. But one of the big goals you need to achieve here at level 2 is learning how to combo and how to interrupt combos. The reason why modern Yu-Gi-Oh is so difficult for new players to get into is because we have transitioned from the slower days of T-set, pass, and retro formats that you experience to basically just every deck is now a combo deck. Every deck has a combo that they want to perform, that if they perform, they have a good chance of trying to win. And those decks that combo off, you most likely probably aren't going to be able to do well because those same decks that combo are going to do the next best thing, which is not letting you play. They're going to do everything they can to stop you. And you may think that's kind of scummy, but really that's actually part of the game because we have cards that have ways to deal with these boards. There's probably a chance they cannot rebuild that board and they will likely lose, and they don't want that to happen. So they're of course going to try to stop you because otherwise they're going to lose. So in this level, one of the main goals you need to learn is of course trying to learn how to combo and how to interrupt combos. Now, one last thing to keep in mind about level 2 Genesys format is that one of the things you learned back in level 1, the card economy thing, that may not work very well in today's We transition from the days of needing more cards than our opponents to just being able to establish a board, and because of that we win. Because when you do combos, they basically just take care of the whole card efficiency for you. Like, you really don't need to worry about that. You just need to be more concerned about establishing your combos. That's pretty much it. Now, that's not to say card economy isn't still important in today's game. It still can come up at some point, but when you get past level 1, you need to keep in mind that card economy is not going to be very present at the start of the duel, and you need to be more focused on trying to gain your combos through in a duel. Again, card economy can still come up at some point, but after level 1, you just want to focus on learning how to combo and just performing your combos. That's your overall main goal. But since you went through and have accomplished the goals back in level 1, you will be ready for this, because now you understand how the game works, what cards are very good, how they work, and of course you can figure out exactly how to play your cards well. So because now you know these things, you can easily learn how to combo. But of course you also need to learn how to take away combo from your opponent. And well, this is where probably the other thing that's a part of the game nowadays, that's another goal you need to check off, and that is learning about hand traps. Now, if you play some of the retro formats, you probably experience some hand traps in them, such as Effect Veiler and DD Crow. But in Genesys format, they are more prevalent. There are plenty of other hand traps you need to be aware of, stuff like Ash Blossom, Infinite Impermanence, Max C, and Drone Lockbird, and plenty of others. And these hand traps are used because they are cards you can use during your opponent's turn, and this is very good because these cards can interrupt your opponent's combos, and that can be very good because sometimes your deck is probably not able to beat the combo your opponent is trying to establish. If your opponent gets to a certain point in the combo that you're not going to be able to push through, that's GG's. But if you have some way to keep them from getting to that point, you now have a chance. So again, your second goal in this level is just learning about hand traps and trying to use hand traps, but more importantly, you're also trying to learn about the cards that can interrupt your opponent's combo, or just learn about cards that can help you break your opponent's board. That's kind of the opposite of hand traps. If you can't stop them from getting to the board, then maybe you should try figure out ways or use cards that can help deal with your opponent's board and just break it. If you can break their board and establish your board, then I think you've sealed the deal and got this duel in the bag. And that comes down the third goal of this level, and that's just basically acquiring more information. And this is very important because a lot of the cards you see in this level and for Genesys format, you're most likely gonna see in the advanced format too. And again, by gaining more information, learning what cards are being used and what to possibly expect, you have a better chance of knowing how to deal with your opponent's cards and how to properly play your cards. So again, the 3 goals you want to do for this level are 1, learning how to combo and how to interrupt combos, learning about hand traps and board breakers, and of course just gaining more information and what cards are being used. After you checked off all 3 of these goals, then you're ready for the last level, level 3. Alright, here we are, level 3, advanced format, modern Yu-Gi-Oh! You did it. Well, almost. There are still a few things you need to learn about this format. So, advanced formats, we are back to the whole ban list thing. Some cards are legal, some are not. You just need to look at the list and see, what's legal, what's currently not. But one thing to learn about in the advanced format is think of it as the all-star format. Again, going back to sports, if you could have all the best players together on one team, it's that would be almost like a dream come true, and that's something you will tend to see something probably the Olympics. And think of it, the advanced format you get, it's basically that, just everyone voting the all-star team in whatever kind of deck they are choosing to create. All the best cards, all the crazy stuff they can use, it's probably gonna be there. But that's still cool because that means you can mix and combine different kinds of decks in whatever kind of fun way that you could do. Seriously, with all the brand new cards that we have nowadays, you could create and come with so many different crazy decks that can actually do really well. Again, there's no limit as long as it's not on the ban list. But when you start off this level, there are still 2 more goals you need to accomplish. The first goal is learning about the other 2 remaining summoning mechanics that you have yet to learn about: Pendulum Summons and Link Summons. The last one especially. These cards are probably the key cards that are really, really just push the combo way that Yu-Gi-Oh is nowadays to the next level. Like seriously, Link Monsters is probably the strongest summoning mechanic of them all, because you can practically use just about any monsters to fill the requirements. Like there's no like level restrictions or any kind of really restrictions most of the time. Just you can use whatever monster you want and just trade one monster for another monster, and then all of a sudden you just got your plays going on. Yeah, that's very powerful. So when you get to this format, you need to learn about pendulum monsters and link monsters, and from there just do back what you did in level 1 and just start trying them out and learning how they work and just getting used to them. And by going through level 2, you already know about combos, like how to combo, how to interrupt combos. So now you just need to integrate link monsters and also possibly pendulum monsters into your combos, and they will take your combos to the next level, and it is going to be a lot of fun. And then your second goal for this level is just simply, again, just acquiring more information. Because again, you acquire good information, but now you need to acquire more, and just mostly, I guess you could say, just like, well, link monsters, and also how decks combos are changed up now that they've got link monsters added to it. But after you have checked off and completed these 2 goals, then you have successfully integrated yourself into the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Welcome. And that's about it. This is how you get yourself into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, obviously, I made this kind of like at the point, like trying to get you from one end of the goal all the way to playing the advanced formats. And obviously, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Like some players, some players just enjoy playing the retro formats for the slower pace, and that's understandable. That is completely fine. But the advanced format can be a lot of fun too. That's what the format I choose to play most of the time, and I love it. I freaking love this. The crazy stuff I can do and just pull off. It is so much fun. But again, maybe one of these other formats is probably the perfect choice for you, and there's no shame in that. There's no wrongdoing in that. Do whatever floats your boat and just have fun with the game. Now, okay, I just want to point out, this whole thing I presented has mostly just been, well, a theory. A Yu-Gi-Oh! Theory. I'm sorry, I had to. But seriously, this is all just a theory that I have come up with. I have not quite tested this out, because I can't test it on myself, because I'm not in that kind of stage. My brain is absorbed too much for the point of no return. I've not tested this out like any other players or someone that wants to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! So I can't say for certain that this will work. But to any players out there that are watching this, and maybe they've got someone that wants to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Wants to get them into Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, give my theory a try, and just see how it goes. It's seriously, that's why I'm making this video, because I want to put my theory out there for you guys to check out, or maybe and spark some ideas. Maybe, and who knows, maybe we're onto something, or maybe there's a couple of errors I may have overlooked or neglected, and you can help correct me by letting me know in the comment section below. Give my formula a try and let me know how it goes. So I seriously want to be able to get more players into this game and enjoy the game and be able to play the game and get to know a bunch of other people. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, my friend. I hope you found this very informational and potentially helpful in some way. And again, let me know if this has helped you or someone you know in some way, or if you can think of a better way to do this. I would love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, my friend, and I hope you have /had an awesome day today.